Hi everybody, welcome to Jokes Please. This is a comedy show that used to be live in a venue and now it is a YouTube show. So that means I get to do jokes as I ride my bike home, which is nice for me. So today's show is very good. It is our 10th episode and we have two very hilarious comedians. Ivan Decker and Simon King are both on the show. Both hilarious people who have done all sorts of stuff in comedy. They both have comedy specials. You can watch Ivan's on Netflix. He also won a Juno for stand-up comedy. And Simon's special that he taped here in Vancouver is coming out very soon. So they do stand-up in a park to no one. And then we do a chit-chat, which is nice. But also because of phase 2, there is some camaraderie and fun in the park, which was nice for us. So don't feel safe. Don't feel like this is unsafe. Me biking and doing comedy. There is very little traffic because of the virus, which is nice. Ooh. I suppose I am near a cemetery. That could seem unsafe if there are any children or superstitious people watching. But I don't fear anything in a graveyard at night anymore. I'm not a child. I'm not afraid of ghosts or dead bodies. But I am in a city, so I suppose there are people who might be interested in dead bodies. That is actually something scary. But I think that someone with a camera is immune to people who want to do crimes to dead bodies. So I feel safe again. Okay, I think I'm gonna move on from here to be respectful to the dead ones. Do jokes elsewhere. That's a classic Ivan bit right there. Getting applause.
It's a Rambo ADD. Hey, whoa, whoa, hey, whoa. They fight together, they kill you. Then you can have your popcorn. You got it.
So one thing on my mind is that I invented something called put pocketing. It is the opposite of pickpocketing. It is where you put things into people's pockets that they don't want, usually trash in a circumstance where there is no trash can. Usually in a busy place like a mall or a sporting event, maybe transit. Someone is wearing cargo shorts. You slip that in there, that person just got put pocketed. It's a joke I've done for a while, and now the joke and the activity harder to do. People are gonna be so conscious of who's in their 6-foot bubble. I'm not gonna be smushed next to someone and then be able to get rid of my grapefruit peels easy. What a loss. Probably the greatest loss due to this whole pandemic. I did just go through a cemetery. I stand by it. This is my favorite place in Vancouver. We're trying to get a cat. On the internet, there's lots of competition. I'm considering just breaking in. So I'm in Maine in 26th. Jokes Please's old home. I haven't been here in a long time. I remember one time I was biking up Main Street and it was very busy out. And I was biking up the hill where it was all steep and I was trying my hardest. I was like, biking so hard. And a car had to wait about 7 seconds behind me. And he honked at me and then as soon as they could pass, they like ripped by me, right? And that annoyed me because it felt unsafe. And so biked a couple blocks up, just really heaving on my bike like, and then caught up to him at Broadway. There was a red light. And so I was beside this guy, look in his window that is open, and I just sort of pant at him, and I give him a look, and then he says, "What?" And I go, "Oh." And then as he gets to drive away, he says, "Fuck you," is what he says to me. And then he drives away, and then I bike hard, and I catch him at 10th. And I'm like, "Oh, we're there again." And then I say, "Fuck me," and he says, "Fuck you," and he drives away, and then I catch him at 12th. And at this point, I probably said something back to him, and then I caught him at 14th, 16th, I caught him at 18th, and at this point, he and I had had a full relationship. I knew that this person was not someone that I cared about at all. He was an old, stuffy man that had nothing to be afraid of, at least in this interaction between he and I. So I have a no violence policy in my life, but he does not know that. So at around 18th, maybe at 20th, we're at a red light. Maybe it's at 26th or something like this. And I decide to say something to him, and I say, "Hey, why don't you get out of your car and we can fight about it?" And he was stressed about this. He didn't like this. We had been chirping back and forth for so many blocks. And then he did a thing sometimes people do, is he just said back to me what I said to him. So I go, why don't you get out of your car and we can fight about it? And then he goes, why don't you come into this car and we can fight about it? And I was like, oh yeah? Is that what you want? You're gonna pull over and I can get into your car? Are we gonna put on seatbelts? Are you gonna drop me off where I have to go at the end? Yeah, pull over. And then he just did it, he drove away. I said, fuck you. And yeah, pleasant memory. Obviously, they're not all pleasant memories. One time, a car driver behind me was honking at me, telling me to get the F off the road. And then am I gonna do that joke? Am I gonna do that joke? Sure. And then he was down Cambie towards Broadway, very main intersection. And then he came up to a red light at Broadway. He tried to make a right-hand turn, but there was pedestrians blocking his way. So I got to roll up beside this man, and we were in a moment. Just me, him, and his wife, who was looking at the ground because she was embarrassed, right? And then I went into comedian mode, and I said, nice haircut, because he was bald. I zinged him. It was just the first thing that came to mind. It's not the greatest joke I ever told, but hey, why not? And then, yeah. And what? How does this joke go? I don't even remember anymore. He swore at me. He called me gay. He said he was gonna murder me. And then I hit him with some facts. And I said, sir, you're trying to intimidate the unintimidatable. I grew up in Saskatchewan with two 6-foot-tall sisters who grew up at an age where they did not make pants for tall ladies. So these girls grew up wearing boys' pants. It's hard to feel good about yourself as a young woman wearing pants that make you look like a rectangle, the same shape as your province. That's not good. So these two 6-foot-tall towers of power would come home looking for someone to pick on. Guess who that was? It was me. Plus, there was the runty one, 5'11". That's not 6 feet. Woo! That's terrifying. 3 nearly 6-foot towers of power. So you think I'm afraid of you? I am not. Plus, there's not enough cats for all the kids. So my sister's got the cats, and I had a pet chicken. And I loved that chicken. For 3 years, I loved that chicken. And in the 3rd year, my parents slaughtered that chicken and served it to me for dinner. That's right. That's true. I eat something that I love. I don't even know you. I will eat you in front of your wife, is what I said to that man. I told this joke so often, I can hardly remember it, though. It's so crazy. But in that story, like, a lot of people think that's a joke, that it's comedy. Because in comedy, there's exaggeration. In this story, there's almost none. Of course, he did drive away halfway through this. Like, he was long gone at this point. He was way down. Oh, there's people out and about. So that was just me yelling at nothing, right? Just waxing about a chicken that I loved. Its name was Boy. If you guys want to know, it's because I had too many sisters and I wanted a chicken that was a boy. But every hen is a lady. How embarrassing is that? Quite, when I found that out in my older age. So I am waxing about this chicken that I loved at Cambie and Broadway, one of the most busy intersections. And as I come out of my madness, that person's long gone, driven away. As I come out of my madness, there's a police officer right there, right? That is a tough moment. That's an awkward moment. You have to cut the tension, right? I did it with a joke. I did it with a compliment. I was like, nice gun. That was the wrong thing to say. He handled it well. He just said, what is your name? But the only question I heard was, is it time to lie to the popo for the first time in your life? And yeah, it was. So my name is Ross Dauk, as hopefully you guys know. And he said, what's your name? And I said, Ryan. And they said, last name. And I said, Hilbert. And they said, middle name. And I said, Albert. Ryan Albert Hilbert. He said, that's not your name. That's no one's name. He said, no one has a rhyming name. And I was like, I have a rhyming name. And I come from a long line of men with rhyming names. And he was like, prove it. And I was like, my name is Ryan Albert Hilbert, son of Brian Albert Hilbert, whose dad's name was Wilbert Dilbert Hilbert. He said, I was under arrest. I said, for what? He said, for obstructing justice. I said, what justice is this? He said, you're lying to a peace officer. And that offended me, because Ryan Albert Hilbert is a lot of things, but he is not a liar. Wow, that's a long joke. Have you guys ever been called out on your baloney? I was immediately. He searched me, he found my ID. He turned into the smuggest cop I've ever seen in my life. He was like, well, Ross, turns out your name is not Ryan Albert Hilbert. I was like, yeah, that's no one's name, sir. You should probably do your job better. And he let me go. just with a warning. Okay. I wonder if this is staying in, this whole thing. Well, we have a great show ahead of you guys. Please put your hands together for our first guest, the very funny Ivan Decker, everybody. What a pleasure.
All right. Oh, boy. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Nice to be here in the park. Phase 2, we're living. This is it. Phase 2, to a lot of people, apparently means it's over, which is not true. Please get away from me at the grocery store. Like many of you at home, I have taken on a lot of exciting hobbies during this whole pandemic. One of them, since I have been considering myself retired from stand-up and also life, I've taken up birding because the birds don't know that there's a virus, so they're living their lives. So you can actually spot a lot of very exciting birds right in your own neighborhood. There's one behind me that has been calling. I don't know what it is. Someday I will, if I achieve my birding dreams. But I love the world of birds because it's talked about very often that the extravagantly plumed birds are the males. And then the female birds, they're like brown, very drab. And everybody's like, isn't that crazy? And I'm like, I bet you they wanted to also be extravagant. Just nobody told them it was like a fancy event. That's why, to me, all of the female birds seem to have the attitude of like, they see the male and they're like, you're wearing that? You didn't tell me this was gonna be, I just threw this on. How long are we gonna be here? Forever? Well, that's very upsetting. I wish I'd known we were going to a fancy event. You brought your huge tail feathers. I'm not even wearing anything back there. I mean, I'm gonna get away from predators faster than you with your weird fan, but I wish that I had known we were gonna be multicolored. I'm wearing my at-home, comfy brown feathers. The other thing I've been watching a lot of is reality television. It's never really been a big thing for me because it's on at night and I'm usually doing stand-up at night. But the fun thing is now with reality TV, you can binge it. Like you used to have to wait a week to see who's getting voted off and who's getting eliminated. Now you see like episode after episode of people being eliminated from something. The one I've been watching is the Great Canadian Baking Show, which is fantastic. Great British Baking Show is the original. But the funniest thing about it is that every time anybody gets eliminated from the show, they always have the judges being like, well, I mean, I hope they continue to bake. Yeah, they're not gonna give up on baking because they got eliminated off the show whose goal it was to find the best baker in the country. You're like, I'm only the 5th best. Better hang up the gloves. I hope they continue to bake. I just sincerely hope they continue baking. Yeah, of course, they're going to continue baking. They're not, oh, it was a little bit too dry for this crusty British lady. Yeah, of course. Oh, I'm only roasting chickens from now on. For the rest of my life, no more baking. Do you want to bake that chicken? No, I don't want to bake the chicken. Fried, only fried. I fry things now. I will refuse to continue. It's just so strange. Like any of these reality shows, I hope when people get eliminated from the Big Brother, they're like, I hope he continues to socially alienate his friends and be a backstabbing, terrible person. I hope he continues to form alliances. Like when people get eliminated from Survivor, are they like, I hope he continues to survive after the show is over. Just for family and friends, maybe they could get together on the weekends and survive together. I've also been watching a lot of movies, and something that goes with movies, of course, is everybody's favorite treat, which is popcorn, and which sold out very quickly in the beginning of this pandemic. So if you're watching, I know you probably have some popcorn, because that was one of the things everybody panic bought, didn't get talked about, because not as big as toilet paper, but you guys all went real hard on Orville Redenbacher. He lost a lot of inventory. They've now finally got stock of popcorn everywhere. But my favorite thing about popcorn is that it used to be cooked on the stove. You'd do like a little bit of oil in a pot, you put the lid on, and it would pop, and then you would take it out, salt and butter. And then in about 1995, a brilliant invention came along, and it was microwave popcorn. And everybody lost their mind Like you make it in the microwave. It's fantastic. You don't have to pop it. You don't have to have corn flying everywhere. You don't have to accidentally forget about it and burn your kitchen down. This microwave box, everything else in the microwave, very bad. Microwave popcorn, only good product to come out of a microwave. So much so that microwaves have installed a button that just says popcorn. Except the problem with that button is that every bag of microwave popcorn, if you read the instructions, the number one instruction on the bag is do not use popcorn button. So I don't know what's going on. There is a major disconnect between the microwave popcorn people and the microwave manufacturers. They're like, don't use that button. And the microwave people are like, put the button on there. They can use the button. They can do whatever the hell they damn well please. They're adults. And the popcorn people are like, do not use the popcorn button. You put it in there and you stand next to the microwave and you listen to when the pops get longer than 2 seconds between pops. Then you can have your popcorn. You don't put it in and walk away. What is this, a microwave oven? Oh, wait, it is? Damn it.
Ivan Decker, everybody. That's a classic Ivan bit right there. Getting applause from the other comedians. I hope when that bit keeps going that Jiffy Pop makes an appearance.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot. I feel like popcorn was also invented when someone was trying to ruin corn.
Oh, yeah. Blast you, corn.
Because there's no way popcorn was intentional. Nobody looked at a cob of corn and was like, oh, I bet that'll make a delicious soft treat. Literally, they must have had dried up corn, and they're like, God, the corn dried up. What should we do? Burn it. And then he's like, you guys better come over here. Bring butter.
I imagine a kid with like a magnifying glass on the popcorn or the corn.
Yeah.
I like how this is how you get killed by Big Popcorn for giving away their secrets.
Yeah.
How did he know the origin story? He's not level
Just the
64.
do not use popcorn button is the most
I've never noticed
aggressive.
that, but
I didn't
It's on
notice
every bag. It's hilarious.
who's raiding the bag? It's not for you.
Me, I'm reading the bag.
Who's reading the bag? Comedians. All right, thank you very much, Ivan. What a pleasure.
Thank you. Hello.
I didn't know you could use the popcorn button.
Okay, ladies and sweet gentlemen, hello. This is fun. Ivan and I are setting up.
I've been rambling.
He's
Time to be hilarious.
And we have a special guest, Matty Vu, both
What up?
return guests. This is fun.
I'm
Hello.
not doing anything. I'm just here because you're close to my home.
Pretty good. East Van represent.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Do you want to stick around? What do you want to do?
I'll just watch over there.
You want to watch for a little bit?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
This. Ah, dandelion.
Hey, you can give it as a parting gift.
It all went on me. Yeah. Oh, that wasn't fun.
That's fun for us.
That's really great fun.
Whimsy.
All
That
right.
was gonna be whimsical.
Enjoy your seat there, Matty. Thanks for being here.
That wasn't whimsical at all.
Oh,
I
is it-
hated that.
You hated that? For me, it seemed like full of whimsy.
There's a very large spider in my bathtub today, so I'm on edge.
That's a nightmare. Hello, everybody. I'm here with the very funny return guest, Ivan Decker, who's living through a nightmare. Ivan, what happened here? You had a giant spider.
A big tub spider. I even Googled like why spiders are in the bathtub, because that's where you find them, in your home, right?
Was the answer to get clean?
The answer, well, everybody thinks it's like, oh, they come up through the plug hole, or like they want water. But apparently it's just because they suck at climbing out of the tub.
Oh, darn it, they get
So
stuck.
they get in there, and then
Yeah.
they gotta hang out, wait for you to get in the shower, and then be like, hello, could you please send me to the sewer? And I say, yeah, but of course.
They must be
Ta-ta.
so confident because they've climbed out of everything their whole lives.
Yeah.
And in this, they're like, what a treat just to slide down the tub, but then they get stuck.
Yeah, they can't do it. It's like those big, I grew up near farms. That you might know that. You know, some farms have that, like, it's like a black, they would use it to hold feed water.
Sure.
And
yeah.
then it's like tarp, like plasticky paper
Yeah.
in a thing of dirt, and they would just fill it with water.
Yeah.
And they would always tell us as kids, be like, don't get in there because you can't get out.
Yeah.
It's too slippery.
They were always like, don't get in there, you little spiders.
You little
can't
spider,
get
you're
out.
like a spider in the tub.
What I like to imagine is a spider getting clean in the tub with like a handheld shower over here, loofah over here, soap over there, razor over here. Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
can do it all at once, brushing their teeth from out.
Yep.
It'd be
Yep.
great.
Like an orangutan.
Only with
Orangutan.
just wait, like an orangutan? Because are they
Well, they
famous
are
for their?
very, they
Oh.
have the best like hand feet
Oh yeah.
out of any of the great apes.
What about Uma Thurman? I don't want to call her an
She can
ape. I
wiggle
just
her
mean,
big toe.
yeah, she had good feet in that thing. Okay, I'm gonna go hang out with Quentin Tarantino. Let's start this thing for real. And also, Matty Vu is over by the tree. This is lovely.
I like this. This is very nice.
Yeah, I guess
feel
we
like he's
should-
our wedding photographer.
Kind of has a wedding photographer vibe as well.
It is I believe it was a hobo spider.
What do you mean? Like didn't have a home, or that's the type?
That's the type. So if you find a spider in your house, it's usually a hobo spider.
This is sad though. It's because it's in your home and it does not have a home. You're not.
I know.
Is
That's
that
why
what
they
you're
call
saying?
them- Well, they ride the rails. That's the main reason. They've got 8 little bindles.
Oh, I love that. 6 probably. Otherwise there'll be a
they
bird
gotta
on you.
walk with at least 2 of those legs. They're not orangutans.
So you're telling me that most spiders I see are hobo spiders?
No, they're just like when you see often people mistake. Sorry, I should have said. They're commonly mistaken for wolf spiders.
Right.
People are like, oh, there's a wolf spider in my house, but it was probably a hobo spider. They look very similar. They're brown
Right.
and creepy.
Yeah, totally.
But wolf spiders are a little different.
So interestingly, hobos in the real world sometimes see and they think it's like a wolf person, a scary person. Turns out
Yeah.
it's just a nice hobo.
Yeah, it's just a nice hobo.
Yeah, because wolf spiders they can have some venom, I think.
No, I think they're non-venomous.
Oh, okay.
I mean, most spiders have venom, but it's ineffective on humans. But the one that is bad in BC is the black widow, of course.
Of course.
Scarlett Johansson.
Coming soon or never again, depending on movie theaters.
Depending on if movies ever come back.
Yeah,
Isn't
totally.
it weird to see like things, like there's certain companies that are going out of business that like today, it was announced that Pier 1 Imports, it was like, they're gone. And I was like, they were still
Yeah.
around? They're like, they have to close all 598 stores. I was like,
No.
598?
Is that the
That's like
what-
more than Quiznos, man.
Is that and they sell pots and stuff?
Yeah,
Like-
they just sell like garbage, all that like stupid like
Yeah.
suburban white housewife stuff.
I
It's like,
hated.
I got a new dish rack and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's yellow.
I don't mind a dish rack. I don't like that when there's like a vase with dead plants in it and then up on a thing and I don't like that
Or like
empty
the fake,
stuff.
all the fake plants they have.
I don't like
There's
that.
just so many of those stores that sell like knickknacks for your house
Yeah.
that you don't need. And you're like, it's just so odd to me the way that people are in their homes. And I mean, it's happening now because people are trapped there. But they're just like looking at a corner of the room and they're like, oh, I just got to put a thing there. Thing I won't ever need, like not something useful, like a blender or a vacuum cleaner. It's like, put a large pot with a life form that I got to take care of. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
We're in that circumstance. So our place is ramshackle at best. And then if you just rearrange things, it looks nice. But then we'll get into mini arguments because we had Katrina, my girlfriend, she bought a nice arrangement, sort of a knit thing for the plants to sit in.
Okay.
It looks nice. Only then you have to take them out to water them. But we're not good at watering our plants in the first case. In the first place. So it's like if you put another barrier, all those plants are gonna die.
Yeah,
so it's like
it's not happening.
it seems risky. So we have these nice things, and they were on the plants until we water them, and now just we have empty containers, and then the plants beside them. So it's like now.
Why do you have to take them out of the thing to water them? You can't get
Because
the knitting wet?
yeah, I guess the knitting can be wet. I like to really soak up though. I like to give them a shower.
Yeah,
I get nude with the plants. I
get 'em in there?
I loofah with them. I bring up the wolf spiders, the hobos. They 6 to 8 limbs over there working on them. We polish. I'm excited to see you both. I don't know if you guys can tell. I had
Yeah,
a sort of
it's nice to see you. You dressed up. I did not this time because what I wore last time was quite warm. Although when we recorded last time, it was like freezing cold day. It was
Yeah,
the
well,
perfect temperature.
You were a very good sport because we should have shot in the sun probably where we would have been nice and toasty, moved into the shade because I didn't know how to video outside as an experienced person. And so we
Yeah.
were like pretending not to chatter.
Yeah, now you folks at home can see the amazing video quality
It's improved. It's
that
better.
he has figured out. There's only one camera pointing at me. Oh, this is the wide.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got the wide. That's our cameraman over there.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot.
It'll be a zillion.
I don't even know if they are. They may be gnats or perhaps another insect.
This is the Ranger Rick live stream.
Yeah, yeah.
This is so exciting.
This is where
Also,
we point at stuff and we're like, what's that? Some people think this is a dandelion, but it's actually a hobo flower.
Ivan, do you remember the video that we shot in my backyard to promo Jokes Please early on that never
Yeah.
aired? That was very funny. You like pointed at a tree and you riffed about our woodpecker at the time, and
I don't even remember that.
yeah, it was very funny. Maybe let's try it again. Clip. With Maddie, as I kept saying clip, didn't put in the clips, but ever since I've gotten better.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so maybe we'll put in a little clip of Ivan
in a
being funny
clip?
in my backyard.
That's great. I've started to get very interested in birding,
Oh,
Ross.
excellent.
Birds, because you can do that in a socially distant way. So
Yeah.
at the beginning of this, there are lots of birding sites in Vancouver that you can go to and see a lot of cool. And so I've seen like some pretty sweet like hummingbirds,
Aw.
and you know, I'm a big fan of raptors. So like any hawks, eagles, they're very
Yeah,
fun.
it's exciting.
And learning to identify them is just like a fun little project. It's sort of fun. And there's also a really good app by the Cornell University where you can Shazam a bird call. Like you
What?
can hold up the phone
That's exciting.
for like the call, and it'll be like, it's probably this bird.
And does it seem like it's accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cool, because it all started because the birds near my house here are so loud. It is the loudest sound. You think of living in the city, you're like, oh, it's gonna be motorcycles and sirens and people I mean, East Van, yeah, of course. I used to live on this part of town. On this part of town? Listen,
Yeah, you used to
Yes.
hover above it.
on this island of East Van. But I moved to the West End, and there it's very bird heavy.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, seagulls, crows, you can identify pretty easily. But there
Yeah.
was like another one, sounds like a jazz bird. It's like kind of a different call.
'Cause it's,
every
like,
time.
hitting
Yeah,
it,
it's
yeah.
really like boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. And so I was like, what kind of bird is that? There must be some nerd that knows. And so I went online and started listening to like bird calls until I heard one that sounded like it. And I was like,
And until you became that
I think
nerd
that's it.
who can
And
do
now
it.
I'm the guy. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna make a video. I'm not that crazy, Ross. I'm not gonna make a video of what birds are.
What was the jazz bird?
It was a house finch.
A house finch.
Yeah.
So-
you can edit in a clip of the house finch now.
House finch. So there is.
Eating a hobo spider, perhaps.
That's going to take a lot to get that video. So last week there was a lot of crow content, and then I went to go get the groceries the other day, and there's crows where I live around. They fly
Yeah,
by.
they've been nutty lately because they're nesting.
Is that what's going on?
They're getting wacky.
I thought they had seen the video. I thought they'd seen Jokes Please.
Possibly.
And
That's
they were.
also a distinct possibility.
It was madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
were they being crazy?
yeah. So there was, and they were. It felt like they were following me, but it was because I'm along their path to their roosting in the evening. So
Yeah.
as I was commuting, they were commuting on top of me. I eventually take a video. Last week I spoke about crows a lot, and I don't know. I feel like now they're all over all the time. I can't tell if they're in support of the jokes or if they were offended. Where I'm here, and they're just like, oh, it was exciting. I've
Yeah.
always been friends with crows, but this time I thought they might lift me away to
Well,
my
and
doom.
crows it's scary because even Graham Clark has a great joke about it, but it's basically they remember you.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't want to do anything that might upset them because
Yeah.
nobody holds a vendetta like a crow. They will hate you for life. They will pass down from to their children that you are not nice. They
Their
did studies
dying
at
caw.
universities where people like messed with crows to see if they remembered them. And then it was like they went to the campus like 15 years later, which is like easily all the crows have died
Yeah.
by that point that would have seen this person, and they still attacked him because it was like they
I
told
love
their
it.
kids, if you see this guy, do not let him.
I think that's great. It's interesting how they describe a human being's face through cause. Like that must
Yeah,
be
that's
like,
weird. I don't know what that
Maybe
means.
they do feather drawings. That'd be nice. They've got calligraphy like feathers and they
Yeah.
sketch them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very odd. I don't know how they do it.
Well, that can be the next phase of the research.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. Corvids, I'm not interested in.
Ah.
I'm a songbird man right now.
And raptor person.
raptor.
Okay, cool.
You know,
Corvids
because
later.
there's so many little sparrows, nuthatches. You know,
If this is a different show, thered be a nuthatch joke there.
yeah, yeah.
This is a different comedy
The
show.
red-winged blackbird, very fun.
Mhm.
That call is pretty common. You hear it a lot around here.
When I was
And there's also you had video of there's goslings right now, which is very fun.
oh my goodness, those goslings were so cute. It was incredible. Yeah, they're incredible. When I was a young person, we have a big yard, you know, an Anaheim farm thing, so it's like acres, and I would feel brave and fine all day long. Sometimes at night I'd feel fear. And one day I was just running around in the grass, which was around our whole house, and then I heard a tiger, and I was like, well, there's no tigers in Saskatchewan, that's crazy. So I ran away, and then I heard a tiger again, and I was like, okay, now I was like, where is this tiger? It's in the bushes. And what it was there was a hummingbird, and I had never like heard a hummingbird before, and it's that the vibration sounded like a growl of a
Oh my
tiger.
God.
But it took me a lot, because it was like, it would be in a bush,
Yeah.
and then there would be like a russell. It was the real fear moment, and it was also one of those ones, like, I think Jurassic Park had been out, so this is 1993,
you're like,
and so I was like,
probably
do I
dinosaur.
run or do I stay still? Like, what kind of predator is this? So you're just standing there.
No predator is fooled by you staying still. There's also no evidence to support that the T-Rex even had this.
Yeah, there is.
either.
There's a hit movie series. There's some pretty strong evidence.
There are so many things that Jurassic Park did a disservice to.
Oh, totally.
Don't get me started on the Velociraptor.
Oh, I know. The humongous velociraptor that, as we all know.
That dinosaur does exist. It's called a Deinonychus, but
Yeah.
just that name is not fun.
Yeah, not nearly as much as. Yeah, the scenes with the velociraptors would be different if they had the real size.
Yeah.
The Tyrannosaurus Rex would just boot them away.
Yeah, he wouldn't even notice them. They're too small.
Timmy, what is the main little kid? Timmy would just be punching them in the face
Yeah,
to
yeah.
save themselves.
I
It'd be
mean,
a different action
it would
movie.
still be kind of scary.
Oh yeah,
Like, yeah, the Canadian goose, they're like roughly the size of a Canadian goose.
which are terrifying. Have you read the Jurassic Park books?
I have not.
So there is a part where the small animals devour someone. It's pretty good in like Jurassic Park
Well, in
2
the
or
second
something.
Jurassic Park, that does happen.
Oh, I
There's
think that
those
happens
little
in the book as
hoppy
well.
guys.
Yeah.
And I think they eat a little girl at the very beginning of the movie. I've been watching a lot of classic movies
Yeah,
on
what do
this
you got?
during this quarantine. I watched RoboCop
Woo!
from
It's a good one.
1987 last night.
Yeah.
That movie's incredible. I forgot
good.
how great squibs are.
Oh, totally.
Like blood pack squibs from those old movies where they would literally rig up like an explosive pack of actual like corn syrupy blood.
And it's a little explosive, so also the actors are going like, ah!
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
getting blown
I
up.
mean, there's a lot of late reactions, is what we
Yeah.
learned from RoboCop. People
Yeah.
are getting like, puh, puh, and then being like, ah!
Hey, Ivan Decker, everybody! What a pleasure! Thanks for being here, Ivan.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was delightful.
Okay. Next up, we have the very hilarious Simon King. Give it up for Simon King. What a pleasure!
Before COVID, this entire area was built up with shopping malls, sandwich shops, places you could mix your own drinks. But now, after COVID, all that's left is the trees and despair. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the best. We're all gonna. That's the sad thing. I have a bunch of COVID material, but only like 70% of people are gonna get it. So the point, there's no point. I don't care anymore. We finally got a disease that kills baby boomers, which is great, but it doesn't target people with high net worth, which I'm sad about. So if there was some way, if it was genetically engineered, surely there would be a way to somehow make it like, okay, well, it's going to target the people who have more than 5 rooms in their house they're not using. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, you see these celebrities and stuff, they come on and go, oh, it's so hard being here. I have 4 rooms, all right? And 2 of those rooms are taken up by other people. So I have 2 rooms in my house, one of which is the bathroom. I can't really ever close the door because my kid always needs to be in there. That's how you know that I haven't been doing shows in a long time, is I have no, this is the biggest audience I've played in forever. And it's the 3rd biggest audience I played this year, sadly. I don't have any jokes anymore. I don't have any funny thoughts anymore. Everything I think now is like, I'll just write jokes. And thank God this thing didn't target, like, you know, people who would get my impressions, because that's all I'll have left after this. Like, if people don't know who, oh, what's a reference from, like, I can't even think of a reference now from the 90s. That's how long ago it is. It just erases your brain. No, I don't know. I don't feel. I feel strangely like all these. Everyone's like, "Oh, comedians are gonna have so much material." But what am I gonna talk about? I'm gonna talk about everything everyone else has talked about. You know, there's gonna be some fucking hack who's gonna have a fake cough and die on stage, or whatever the fuck they're gonna do, and some guy's gonna throw in a wonky Chinese accent and be me so sick or whatever the fuck. It's just gonna be the worst, and then everyone's gonna get canceled for doing their jokes about COVID. It was a real tragedy. It's like 0.0001% of people are killed by it, which is probably the same amount of people that are killed by like bread tags or getting poisoned from stubbing their toes. And I'm not saying it's not significant, and I'm not saying we shouldn't do something about it, and I'm not saying we shouldn't take care of the people who are less fortunate than us in terms of their immune systems are compromised or they're not capable of fighting off the infection. But shit kills humans all the time. It really does. And what I'm saying is I'd just really like to get a coffee, not at my house. that possible? Is it possible for me to just go out? I really want to be treated shitty by a barista. Is that something that I could have? It is nice to be in Vancouver when this is happening because I haven't overheard one bullshit conversation about paddleboarding or hot yoga, which has been really great. I haven't heard one person say they're... You haven't heard a lot from the YOLO people, which is nice too. You haven't heard a lot from those people. So, YOLO, really? Why you got a mask on, you fuckbag? I really want to start. I want to overdo as soon as this is. I want to be like this the whole time as I am, which is like, you know, I obviously. I've had a secret weapon to fight this the whole time. I always washed my hands because I'm not a fucking animal, which has been really beneficial to me. When they're like, you should wash your hands. Yeah, kind of been doing that for a long time. So I'm doing all the protective things. I'm wiping stuff down. I'm wiping stuff down like Whoopi Goldberg in Jumping Jack Flash. There's the reference. Just like when she's a criminal, she's just wiping shit down. I'm wiping shit down like I accidentally murdered a sex worker. Like that's what I'm doing. Like everywhere I go, I'm just like, fucking, get my hands clean, just bleaching my hands, just like raw. It's the best. It's the best. I think right now too, if you are the kind of person who secretly wants to take a life, you could smother someone to death in their apartment right now. There's a lot of people living in studio apartments no one's checking on, who went in there because they had a cough. You just sneak in, smother someone out, you know what I mean? And they'll be like, COVID. Everything's getting blamed on COVID. There was a shark, ate a guy off the coast of California, but the guy had a cough before he went in the ocean. They blame it on COVID. So everything's COVID now, which is rough if you're an Amish kid named COVID. That's, why does everybody hate me? That's a pretty shitty place to be, you know? But so that's where we are. We're here. We're performing in parks. This is how desperate and sad comedians are. This is what we have to do. Performing amongst the birds, getting heckled by birds, mind you, being stared at by people out for their evening walk, being dead-eyed by someone doing Tai Chi in the park and someone playing golf. And they're looking at me and going, what is that guy talking? I bet he's making a TikTok video. Which, by the way, if you're ever wondering whether a virus should wipe out half the world, get yourself a TikTok. Check that shit out. It's a lot of people at the gym, a lot of people with their parents' money. And by the way, the commodity of hot people has gone down because hot people are not, if you're ever intimidated by hot people, go on the TikTok, see all the stupid hot people and how many there are, and realize that you're probably fuckable. Well, bye.
Simon King, everybody! Simon King. He's gone into the woods. Simon,
They find you here, they will kill you.
I love it. This sort of suits you. You seem like an outdoorsy man. Oh, is this Apocalypse Now?
It's a Rambo ADD. Hey, oh, whoa, hey, oh. that one weirdly Robin Williams.
Yeah, that was very Robin Williams.
Yeah. So this is I am outdoorsy. I'm very strangely outdoorsy.
You were dressed city, but I put you in the outdoors. Were you expecting this?
I'm surprisingly with my hands. I'm surprisingly good with my hands. People will be. I think about going on that show Alone. You know that show Alone?
I don't. What happens?
They drop a bunch. They drop like 10 people in the wild. They have nothing.
Yeah.
Like 10 items.
Yeah.
And they're completely by themselves, all Survivor Man style, like you're doing now.
Yeah.
But you've been alone for a long time.
Yeah.
And they leave in there, and then the last one surviving gets $500,000.
Do the others walk out or something?
Yeah, they quit. They
Oh,
cap
they
out.
quit.
And most of them
Yeah, it's
start.
like- it's like, finally.
But I was thinking, how great would it be to be a cannibal and go it alone and be like, all I got to do is find the other 9 people.
Yeah.
That's all I got to do.
Oh.
And then blame it on a bear. That's all I got to do. You're just like, he's the only guy who got fatter being in the wild by himself.
Yeah,
for
he's
9
like, that
years.
was tough.
How did you get that big? And where's Carl?
It's similar with the smothering the COVID people. Is like
Yeah.
also it's like everyone has masks on. It is.
Yeah.
I am surprised that
Yeah.
human beings are being so kind.
I've been
'cause there
carrying
should be
nunchucks
crimes
just in
everywhere.
case.
Did you guys see
know.
that thing that a guy robbed a bank or a convenience store but he's wearing a watermelon? So he wore a watermelon with his eyes cut out. He got caught. It's like, this is the time where you get to wear a face mask. Just wear a face mask.
And he was wearing a watermelon.
Yeah, he got a watermelon, holes in the eyes. Oh, man.
Like that's
Yeah.
that's gotta be, yeah.
A Rough Riders fan?
I was thinking he was just walking along and a watermelon fell on him. He's like, well, what else can go wrong? He just robbed the bank.
Okay, Simon King, everyone. What a
Bye, guys.
pleasure.
Bye.
So we're here with the very hilarious Simon King. Simon, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, good. I'm very glad that you wore your mustache as piratey as possible.
I did. I've given up on conforming with styles of the world.
I love it. We're in a new day. Also, because we're in second phase here in BC, we have some. Ivan is still hanging out, and Matty is here.
Hi,
So
guys.
we've had a nice hangout.
This is it. This
It's good. Nope.
Nope.
You guys are off camera.
is the biggest audience I've been in front of in a very long time.
This is the most people I've been around in.
I don't.
This is also bigger than my apartment. The way we're spaced out. So.
Oh yeah, it's hard to do it, but this is very nice. Okay, so
Yeah.
how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually remarkably good.
Yeah.
I'm not really missing stand-up very much.
Yeah.
I suppose I probably will if I get around it, but I feel like it's like if you quit drinking and then you don't have anything to drink, you don't miss it as much.
Yeah.
But if you have like a little bit, then so this might be the thing that sets me on my way back to
To drinking.
yeah. Well,
Off the wagon,
yeah.
on the wagon.
on the wagon.
On the wagon. So one of the things that I think that it is easier for us here because it's been a pleasant spring. I think
Yeah.
that comedy would have been more needed if it was dreary and raining.
Yeah.
If this would have happened in the winter times,
Yeah.
I think that people would be losing their minds.
Yeah.
I feel for Winnipeg.
I think that this is the thing. I think that BC got ahead of the game in many ways,
Yeah.
and that's taken a lot of stress off people because once we realized that big bang wasn't going to happen, I think that really took. The first few weeks were a little bit tense, and we've also had steady information that's been
Everyone loves Dr. Bonnie.
I mean, I was talking to a buddy of mine in the States this morning, and he's like, yeah, there's just no concept of what's actually supposed to happen or what
man.
isn't. Everyone's all over the map. So I feel like we're a little bit more centered. But I mean, as it is, comedians operate kind of, especially full-time comedians operate in this kind of non-calendar world anyway, unless you're, so I mean, other than not being at shows and not being in airports or rental cars, or hotels, it's not really too different.
I've given advice to people about how, who don't have jobs and now have to manage this time, about the way, that is a skill. Being able to have this much time on your hands and still feel like a valuable human being and that sort of thing.
Well, that's where you got to stop. Give up feeling valuable.
No.
I gave up feeling valuable 18 years ago.
Oh.
So good. No expectations on yourself.
I think you're a very valuable human being to a lot of people, including me. One of the things I want to talk about is that you and I went to Fort St. John and Prince George together.
We did, yes.
Yes. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. So do you remember that at Fort St. John they had those humongous things of popcorn? Do you remember this at all?
I do remember that, yes.
Yeah. And then do you remember afterwards that I got hit on by an old lady? Do you know this?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So after the show, Simon King's headliner, very hilarious comedian, and he crushed, and I opened. I did fine. I did
you
good
did
enough.
great. You
Yeah, I
did
did
really
great.
well.
It was, thank you for having me, and it went fine. But after the show, people want to talk. Simon closed with the Chinese Star Wars.
I think that's what
and it was just and also did it's fun to watch the Canada versus the United States Army, whether they go to war. The punchline where the snow tires and the Canadians jersey the American, and we have
I don't
healthcare.
even remember that joke. But that sounds like some sort of road slogan.
But it just destroys.
We're great, right, Canada? And everyone's like, I like these guys.
But also with hilarious punchlines with a jerseying joke. So it's afterwards everyone's swarmed to Simon. It's very fun, and I was happy to be there, and I was enjoying the thing. And then old lady was very sexually aggressive towards me, and I leaned past her, and literally a man was cracking his knuckles, and it was a thing where I'm supposed to engage with this
that's
woman.
where that story comes
Yes.
from. I didn't know that was that.
Yeah, and Simon is gleefully over there, whereas I am very close to getting murdered. And then I keep oh, how do you know this guy? And she's like, oh, don't worry about him. And then eventually what happened though is Simon is having such a pleasant experience over there, just came over and then treated them oh, you enjoyed the show, thank you for being here, and then we shuttled off to safety.
Yeah.
It was the greatest.
That was 2011 or something. 2010.
Is it that long ago?
It's a long time ago.
Wow.
Now. Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Well, thank you.
No.
You're a valuable human being.
So
You saved my life.
That's my value.
Well, for
That'll
me.
be, when I eventually die from self-imposed alcohol poisoning, that'll be my eulogy you'll give me, or that is what you'll say at my funeral. He stopped me from being murdered by a cougar's husband.
And gave me this opportunity to have such a fun time, and then saved me. It was a double act of generosity.
Some gig, and then no, that was later. I was gonna say we did some gig and drove home in the middle of the night.
Oh, that was
later.
scary. Yeah.
No, this was
Yeah, you're right. So that's another safety one.
There you go.
So you're in your apartment with a son.
Yeah.
And how is that? Is this young person?
Hello. Cue the dog. Hello, dog.
It's exciting. That dog was a little runt.
That dog doesn't care about COVID at all.
Yeah.
I like this. It's just rustling, like one of those trail cams. You could hear it right after he asked about him having a kid. Sasquatch shows up.
Was that
It was a tiny.
Is it a full-grown thing?
I think it was a Rottweiler they put in the dryer.
Yeah, it was a little
tiny dog.
Was there stress at all with, say, playgrounds being gone, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Is that?
Well, I mean, the thing is, we also have the benefit of living in a very nice place. We have access to a lot of things. Like we live close to the beach, so we have
Oh,
that,
okay.
and so we, I homeschool him because he's got homeschool
exciting.
because he was preschooling.
Yeah.
So I'm homeschooling a preschooler, which is about the level of my knowledge. So
Yeah.
I'm not having to Google too much. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of, what letter is this, Dad? I'm like, hang on a second. It's got one line like this. That's a Z.
Aw.
Most of the time, totally right, and he wouldn't know.
So you're doing letters, you're doing numbers.
Doing letters, doing numbers.
What else do you do?
Federal exchange. Talk
Yeah,
about that.
Totally, mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell.
Talk about the reserve. Talk
Yeah.
about how billionaires should be taxed.
Huh.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's a lot of because my wife is working from home too. So it's weird because he, as a child, has to learn to compartmentalize that she's at work even though she's here.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
it's
tough.
like it's very, and the thing is, I'm also not going away to work. Like I'd be away every weekend or every other weekend, and I'm not anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like this thing where he's trying to adjust to this new normal for him. Because for us, we're like, well, we're grown-ups. We've seen different. For him, it's like he's only been around 3.5 years.
Yeah.
So this is a big chunk of that 3.5 years. He's
Yeah.
like, remember that 12% of my life where
Yeah.
everything was really strange?
So, and does he know that it's temporary?
No, we've told
No.
him this is because he doesn't clean his room.
Yeah, totally.
And
and then you
we
turn
told
on the
him-
news, and there's like,
Yeah, we've told him that if he doesn't get his shit together,
Wow.
this is permanent. No more. No, he knows. It's you have to kind of meter out. It's not a matter of necessarily even protecting them from the information. It's how much they can actually understand the scope of what it
Absolutely,
is.
yeah.
Because he understands, bugs and microorganisms and viruses. He understands all that, but it's all very,
I like that he understands microorganisms. That is
Yeah.
ahead of the game
But
for most
but
of the
you can't
population, I
you
think.
can't
at this
explain
point.
to him and be like, and this is why so many people with comorbidities are dying in New York. Maybe just he doesn't get it. And also, he's
Yeah.
one of those Bill Gates is a vaccine. He's one of
Yeah,
those guys, so I
shoot.
can't talk to him about shit.
that must be stressful.
Yeah.
Hello. Let's see here. Where were we? Right. That's interesting. So there's how many hours per day is the schooling? Like an hour here? Or there,
Yeah, it's like an
Yeah.
hour and a half.
An hour
I
and
mean,
a
that's how much can you cram into his brain, right?
or? Yeah, I have no idea.
And I also feel like it's very relaxed because like if I miss a day, it'll be all right. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like no one's really expecting him to know.
So
that
it's interesting because preschool is a lot about socialization. How are you
Yeah.
doing this? You're like
I do a
being
lot of
like-
voices, right?
Yeah,
A lot
that would be great.
a lot of voices.
You're lucky kid
lot of
gets to hang out
hats.
with all you because you're a man of many voices.
It's a weird thing. Like I don't think he enjoys it too much, but he already does voices of his own. That's a
Aw.
weird thing is to see. Is he going to be like that? And
And-
he already seems to be that guy. So we'll
What
see.
are your dad voices for Oak or your son?
I don't know. Like it's hard to say
Censored.
what the dad voices are. Like I mean, you could do like I know that like I'm his imaginary friend. I
Like-
am his imaginary
Like
friend. Like
he
I am
has
his-
an imaginary friend, but,
But it's
he's
me.
you.
Yeah,
That's charming.
It's Cookie Monster.
Aw.
Me always just do that voice for him.
But then with
He li-
you,
him like it.
Like,
it's a little.
but it's really weird. So he'll tell me,
Yeah.
Dad, about stuff he did with Cookie Monster, who's also me.
Aw,
It's very.
I love
Yeah.
this.
Oh yeah. We're just setting it up for a real school shooter.
Yeah, I do
like-
really hope that he sees the outside world eventually. so that
hopefully
his
they got out
imaginary
there.
friend.
'Cause sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, oh, we should move to some remote cabin in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, no, that's a Kaczynski in the making, just a time bomb.
This is a good horror movie scenario where the imaginary friend is always a demony thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're like, oh no, but imagine that
Just
then
a
in
failed comic.
it's the,
It's just the only person that can see him. Like it's just
Yeah.
a comic, and the only person that can see this comic. Like he's there physically, but everyone just ignores him because he's a terrible comic.
It's a good time to
except
pitch
one
us
4-year-old.
with the Joker. It's the mix between the Joker and Insidious. It's just like or whatever it is.
Dad, there's
Yeah.
a comedian under the bed. Oh, you can't sleep here. Just crawls himself out.
Aw, I love this.
And then at the end, he finally gets exercised and he leaves, and then the other comedian goes. The other comedian's like, "Who books that? Can I get that gig?" Like, just what a work for a 5-year-old, 4-year-old. Yeah, there you go.
That is
Look,
pretty
We just
scary.
did comedy.
Yeah, this is comedy. What is
feels
happening
good.
here? This is great. An audience member stopped by and it threw me. That's how
Yeah,
you
that was
know that you're
weird.
not ready to go back
Yeah.
immediately to stand up. That one person watches and you go, "Hello, where were we?"
Luckily, I am comfortable with this amount of people in my audience. So
Well,
this
this
works
is-
well for me. This is a good night for me. This is a good. If I didn't spend any money on Facebook advertising, I had this kind of turnout. Woo. Big
That-
numbers.
That's what someone was asking. I think we got interviewed about going back to. Is like every stand-up show starts with very few audience members, anyways.
Yeah.
Like the start of like the Yuck Yucks things
Yeah.
were low, and like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it's just it's gonna have one or two. There's a few things I think are gonna happen. I think It's going to get rid of some of the tourist comedians. I think some of the people who were kind of half doing it and half not doing it are probably going to.
Well, hopefully they found happiness.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Hopefully
saying.
they
If you're not
found they don't
committed,
have
if
to
you
do it.
don't need it, I think that
Yeah.
that you'll probably realize that, like, oh, there's other places. You would have
I hope so.
hopefully found somewhere to put your energies. I mean, that's one thing I'm not doing is I'm not finding a place to put those
yeah.
creative energies because I don't write. I write on stage, so I haven't had a chance to do it anyway. So, you know, that's a bit of a thing.
You also write in park as of today.
In park, yes, in park, out under the willow trees or whatever.
Under the willow
what
trees.
are they?
Is there
so
anything
yeah.
else going on here, Simon, with you? Anything else you want to chat about?
I don't know. I mean, it's like I'm kind of in this. I'm in a really interesting headspace because I'm like 20 years into my career now,
Yep.
and I've never taken this long off comedy.
Oh
ever.
yeah, you're on holidays.
I mean, yeah, it's weird because like when I first started out, I did comedy for about 6 months pretty intensely, and then I kind of did 1 or 2 shows a month for a while, and then when I got back about 18 years ago, it was just from then it was like literally 300-400 shows a year, and I've never really. When the kid was born, I took a little bit less time, but I've never gone more than a week without a show, and certainly not, what's it now, 2 months.
yeah.
And I did not expect the kind of weird roller coaster you go on of like not thinking you really need it and then not needing it as much, and then kind of being in it. I think it's gotten me personally to a better place with it. I've pulled myself off a lot of social media.
Yeah.
I don't have that anymore.
This is great.
You know, you can kind of, because you spend your whole career, your whole life in the image industry trying to get bigger and trying to reach more. And then when you realize that it, you know, the stone got dropped in the water years ago and those ripples are going to go where they're going to go and you can't push them. And so that feeling that's kind of hit me of like, well, I mean, I'm still working on a special that's coming. I'm still doing all that stuff. Like that's in edit and everything. So that's still happening. But that feeling of competitiveness is gone. I'm not worried about who gets what festival or who doesn't. That's all gone now. And I hope that never comes back.
Yeah, that's great.
It's kind of a neat Zen place to be.
I'm very glad to hear that.
And if you guys want a transcript of that, that'll be my suicide note. I can send in a mail copy of it. I feel really good about myself, he said, making his own paracord.
Well, no, this
news.
is it's wonderful to hear. Like, to be honest, like some time away, some perspective. That is like an ideal thing to come out of this.
Yeah, and especially it's one of those things where it's like whenever I go camping or something, the first couple days I always think, oh man, like I should be working, and then around day 3 it hits me. I'm like, I can just relax and accept the inevitability of it. Like I'm here. I don't have a phone. I don't have anything. I feel like it's got to that point where after a couple weeks I just accepted the inevitability. Like I can't work. Yeah. It's not like I'm being lazy. It's not like so punishing yourself for not doing stuff is ridiculous. And all these people are like, you should be learning a language. You should be doing if you want to.
Yeah,
but like
sure.
you should also just be enjoying the fact
I personally think we should be creating a language.
Definitely.
Let's get to it.
Let's
We don't
start
have a
with the curse
language
words.
that quickly can communicate to each other. Just kidding. Okay.
Clicks and beeps. Clicks and beeps, my friend.
Clicks and beeps.
That's my
that'd be
favorite
bad.
breakfast cereal is Clicks and Beeps.
Clicks and beeps, everybody. Please go for Simon King, everyone at your homes. Oh, and in the park. What a pleasure. Okay, that's it, everyone. That's the show. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please tell your friends. If me riding my bike as I talk to the camera makes you seasick or something, please let me know. I love comments that are not from robots. We have a real robot problem on our YouTube channel. We do this every Thursday. Watch live, streams live at 9 p.m. Say hello in the chat. Otherwise, thank you for watching during the week. I really appreciate your time. Stay safe out there. Bye, everyone.